involved the Oak Island universe is that type of person. You guys, I can tell you're that type of person. You hear a story like this, you latch onto it like a dog, and you're just like, let's go. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you want it to be solved tomorrow. And yes, who doesn't want to find a chest of gold? Of course we do. Of course, everyone does. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. These things are hard. And so it's taking what it's taking. And that is, in this case, 10 years.
Right. How does it affect us in changing of the history, or getting down to the nitty gritty of the history?
It won't change history. It will explain.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you. That's what I was
it will explain parts of North American history you've never thought about.
See, I can't. The History Channel could not have come up with a better teaser than we just did right here. So I tell you what, stay tuned, folks, because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
All right, top pocket find, mate, for sure, is sitting right over there in the co-host chair. Tom Burns, how you doing tonight?
I don't know if we'll talk pocket find or not, but yeah, I'm doing great.
Oh man, I tell you what, somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat, and I had to go find this real quick before we fired up the server a little bit early tonight, folks. I had a little bit of a meeting there, but somebody said something before we got started in the chat, and I just wanted to share it because it's something that I have been saying. Let's see, where did it go now? Oh my gosh, there's been so much chat since we got going here. Oh, here it is from Bass Anderson. I've got to say that this might be the most exciting season of Oak Island yet. And I know it's a little early, but I think they've made their case. Another season. What do y'all think? And I think so too. I think we got to have a season 11. What do you think?
If they keep finding stuff like this, there's no way around it.
Exactly. This has been a very good season, and we are seeing things, they're not under yet, under the money pit, but they're going under the money pit, and we're going to see stuff, the cameras, the sonars, and this is just what's happening in the money pit. And I think that they have done some really cool things on the rest of the island. And the preview for next week's show, I grabbed a couple pictures from that and a couple statements that were made, and we got to talk about that a little bit toward the end of the show tonight too, because this is a good one. This is a good season. I'm really, I think it's the best one yet, personally.
They've given us more facts, figures, finds, artifacts, call them whatever you want, than we've seen all last year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gotten that much better. Like they've really stepped up, and they've really put the stuff out there for everyone to see.
Yep, they have. Well, we got Sand Dollar Ray here with us tonight. Sethbound, that's funny because I didn't know. We were talking last night during the show, and I wanted to bring up that thing about Discord again, folks, that we have our Discord, or I have the Discord channel or server up and running. It's 24/7. It doesn't cost a thing. And I know it's not for everybody, and it's okay if you don't want to fiddle with it, but it's starting to become a bit of a little community now. I don't know, there's 26 people that are now have joined it. And last night we had about 6 or 8 of us in the voice chat during the episode, and before it started, and we were just talking it up and sharing stuff and chatting and typing in the other part, going on. It's really neat how it's becoming a little community. And I noticed that people were in there talking today. I was working, and I got my 8 to 5, of course, but I saw people were in there chatting and talking. And if I can, I jump over and answer, but today was a pretty busy day at work, so I couldn't. But anyway, the link for it is down below in the description of the show. If you want to check out the Discord channel, it's really simple. You just click on that, and you can load it onto your phone or laptop or whatever you like, and join us in there. It's fun to kind of sit around and talk about the show. So, hi, Jackie. How you doing? Jackie's here. Wade's here. Winston is here. Linda. Is it Simons or Simmons? I never pronounce that correctly. I'm sorry. No snow in Nova Scotia. Maybe in other places. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Well, come on over to New Brunswick right now, because we just got about 2 inches in the last hour.
Yeah. What's up, Acorns?
Yep.
The Scottish wild man. All right, look at that.
Yep. There's some guy named Bill Burns from Grand Manan. I wonder who he's related to.
Yeah, Bill Burns. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff's there from Anchor Tours. Jack.
Hey,
Jack
Jeff.
Campbell. Hey, Jack.
Jack. All right. Good to see
Sharon,
Jack out there.
Sharon from Maine. Henry DeWitt, of course.
Henry.
Barbara, Michelle, Hugh, Kat. Wow. Everybody.
Jackie. Yeah. Jess is here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I loved last night. Yeah, it was really good. And of course, the Beyond Oak Island episode. We're gonna talk about that a little bit tonight too as we go along here. But yeah, so this was a good one. And I just wanted to say too, while you're here, folks, if you would click on the subscribe button for us. If you know it, that way you get to know right away. If you click the notification bell, it tells you right away when I come up with new content or something like that. You get a notification sent to you. You know, through your app or whatever, and you know when we're going live with something. If it's other than the normal times that we've been doing, which is Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7:30, and now we've added Fridays at 7:30 to do the Beyond Oak Island episodes, because I didn't know there was more Beyond Oak Islands happening this year. I thought it was all done, and then first of the year comes and they added more. So I'm glad they have something that you talked about a few minutes ago about Beyond Oak Island. What was that you were saying?
It's no longer a one and done show. They're going back to the places. They're continuing the story, and by continuing the story, they're going to bring more people in, because people are going to realize that these stories just don't start and stop with one episode. Mm-hmm. That these things are ongoing. Like they're just not, I did my show and I'm done.
Yep.
These things keep going. So I think it's going to really boost everything for everybody.
Yeah, I really do too. And I wanted to say thank you once again for Jan for doing the awesome synopsis. It really helps. I've got my scribbles and notes written all over it as well. But yeah, thank you so much. And Linda's helping out with the chat tonight. So if you see stuff pop up like that, then yep. that's Linda helping out, and I appreciate that so very much as well. So, and if you'd like to help support the show, we have our Patreon channel. It's patreon.com, Patreon, and patreon.com, and of course I'm jfree906 there as well, so you can find us if you'd like to help support. And I do appreciate, and I do have some new things coming that I might share with folks, or will be sharing with the patrons coming down the road here real quick. And Jess has been helping me out with some stuff, so really cool there. All right, so let's roll with it, shall we? That's weird. Why did that pop up over here? There we go. So last night's episode number 9, A Damning Clue. And I think this is pretty cool because now they are looking into something that Fred Nolan had always believed about the money pit and or not the money pit. I'm sorry, about the swamp.
With the swamp, yeah.
Yeah, and this is really cool, and I'm really hoping that that he proves out right in all of this. So, all right, let's get on with the pictures here. And I love me an aerial shot. You guys know I love those aerial shots. And then you can see Karen Publicover's boats down here on her dock, and this one tonight. So I like that. That's really cool. So the guys start off in the research center on this particular episode. And there's everybody. It looks like Marty's sleeping over there, but he's not. He just happened to catch him with his eyes closed when he was blinking. But the guys are all in here, and they're trying to figure out exactly where they are going to. Oh, Kate. Wow. Thank you, Kate. That is so awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. So they're trying to figure out where they're going to do the next borehole. Now that the Dumas Mining is still held up and not being able to continue their work to rehab the garden shaft, they are able to do some other stuff. And so they're working on continuing the borehole project. And I'm glad they have, because in this process, and I wanted to show this real quick. Now that, I mentioned this last week a little bit, but I was talking about the fact that the crane has been sitting idle. And one of the guys in the Discord brought this up last night and said, "Did you see that the nest is starting to be formed in the top of the crane?" And I hadn't. Yep. I went back and I looked, and sure enough, there it was.
It's been there the last couple of shows. If you zoomed in and looked close enough,
Yep.
So
there
was
it
it
is.
so was it the permitting that shut them down, or would they or they couldn't get a permit to move the nest?
To move the nest out of there. Yeah, I'm not even going to go down that road and try to figure
No.
out what they did to get rid of, what they had to do. I would imagine that once they fired it up again, the
Well,
osprey,
once they hatch and they get ready to fly and move out, then that just disintegrates anyway.
right. So yeah, so the forming of the nest began during this shutdown period. I kept thinking, how could that possibly happen when they're when they're using it? But I didn't know at the time yet they had gotten shut down for a little while. So they were discussing on the show last night the boreholes that they've done that have all hit a tunnel. And these are the ones shown in red right here. And of course, you've got your M16.25, which is this one right here, I believe. And then you got your L, your K, and your J, and all these up here along this line. These have all hit the open tunnel. And they put their cameras down there and stuff, and they've seen the tunnel from these. We haven't seen them all. I think they've been I think they've been cameraing all of them, but they haven't shown us each and every one of those.
I think anytime they get a void, they'll shove the camera down there.
Yeah, I think so too now. And sometimes they, like I said, they don't always show us. There's so much of the show that goes by that we don't get to see, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't open up the chat from. Oh my gosh, I'm so lax on my duties here tonight, folks. I'm sorry. Hang on just a second. I'm going to open up the chat over here on Facebook so I can see, because we just
everybody just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. We'll be right back.
because it's going to double up the. There it goes. Yeah. All right. Let me click it again. There we go. All right. Now we got it muted. So it's because it's a 15-second delay. So it's over there on what I just said. Okay. That was Kat. It was talking about the shutdown for a long time to build it from scratch. When the eggs are laid, I'm surprised that they are allowed to continue work with the osprey nest.
Yeah, and it's true. The ospreys are a protected species. Like, you don't touch them, you don't disturb them, you don't go anywhere near them. Yep.
And this was the tunnel. This was the, I believe this was the M16.25 where they saw this particular opening down there, and the wood on top and the wood holding up on the side, and like a beam in the middle. It's still holding it up. And somebody else had mentioned too about the fact that, with the borehole drilling that they've been doing, they've really punched so many holes in this thing that they may very well be causing some of the collapses.
That's what I was just going to say. I just hope they don't get too drill crazy down there and cause the thing to fall in.
Yeah, to totally fall in. Exactly. Because they really need to explore this as best they can to find out and follow it and follow it and see where it goes. Because that's what they're really all about. And now they're down there, going into the garden shaft. And that garden shaft, I think that if this is at 103 feet or so, and they've got it, we talked about this last week, Tom, they got to go deeper.
Yep. Yeah, they got to go deeper. There's stuff that is deeper. We know there's stuff that's deeper. They found stuff that's deeper. So.
Oh yeah. Well, that one cavity's down around 150, isn't it? And C1.
They were, the old drill programs. They were finding stuff down in 180, 190, 200.
Mm-hmm.
But whether that's, just a hole, a false lead, there's really nothing down there. I mean, who knows, right?
Right. Yeah, very true. Let's see. So this picture here is showing, again, this is the grid showing these are all the ones that have hit a tunnel. This I5-15 or I.5-15.25 did not hit it. So it means it's heading more this way than that way. They missed it on that one. So, but these have all hit it, and they've all had traces of gold and silver in the water as well. Of course, this was the sonar showing the tunnel that's down there.
I still find it interesting how they can see that bend or determine that bend on sonar.
I know. And this was what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, talking about the fact that we are seeing this now for the first time, the sonars and the cameras down there. And we know that there's tunnels down there. Before, it was a guess, okay, wood. They keep finding wood. Is that wood from a tunnel or searchers or, the searchers doing stuff? Yeah, some of it probably was. And that's why they did the chronology on it, the Denver chronology on it, to find out how old it was. But now we're seeing them. And I think that's awesome. I think the only horizontal tunnel, or the actual only tunnel that they actually knew about, searcher-wise, was that short piece that went down. That was when they came over and were trying to come up into the money pit from the side and come up underneath it. And that one ended up flooding, and they ended up. That was the only one that I thought that actually tunnel that they knew of that was searcher. But then again, I thought they had found all the shafts.
Well, so they.
So did they.
This
So
is
did
new.
they.
This is
Yeah,
new.
yeah, we're getting that. We're going to get to that in a minute. But yeah. So, and they were figuring, okay, this is basically where the tunnel heads towards the garden shaft. Actually, I think it's a little bit more this way, but you know, they got it ending up looking like it's going this direction. So that's all stuff we've seen before. So here's the one thing that and we kind of puzzled over this, folks, and you'll remember that we talked about this on the show a little bit, and I know we were kind of working with you guys in the chat on this as well. That D17 was the previous borehole that they did, that they thought they hit a tunnel at about 70 feet, was it? Yeah. And so they were thinking, wait a minute, we're following this one that is 103 feet, and we're hitting it about 103 feet. Every borehole we go along, it's staying about the same depth. And then they hit one over here, it's at 70, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Is this is this the offset chamber tunnel? And to the offset chamber, is this the spiral tunnel that's going down? I mean, what the heck is this?
Yep.
And it left us speculating about it, or me, I should say, speculating about it as well. And how could there possibly be, you know, a tunnel on top of a tunnel with not much ground in between them? But they decided to shoot this D17.5 and see if they also hit that tunnel in that spot. So this is the existing one that was there, D17, that they hit wood at 70 feet. And now they're over here. Oh, I just saw that message come up and go. No, it hasn't. Yeah.
No.
The muon technology ended. We don't know when it ended yet. They said during the show they were talking about there was going to be still a few months. Is that what they said, Tom?
Well, we see throughout the course of what we've seen so far this season that the concrete protective covers are still there, right? So whether they take them up, move them, replace them, I mean, they put down quite a few, and it takes months to gather that data, just to gather it. So how long it takes to interpret it beyond that, I don't know.
Yep.
But it's not a simple process by any means.
No. Hooks and ladders game. Yeah, Renee, it kind of does. That's for sure. Season 12, the big dig, Winston says. Yeah, could be. So they start, here's the D17. This was when they were, you know, going back in time and looking at the pictures they were showing last night of some of what they found on D17. This is at 70 feet, and they definitely found wood down there at 70 feet. So that left us scratching our heads as to, wow, they hit another tunnel. And what tunnel could that possibly be? There's a picture of some of the wood that they pulled up out of it. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to get ready to do that. And then next we jump over, and we'll get back to the money pit here in just a minute. So D17.5. So they jump over to lot 5, which Gary named as the new giving lot.
The new giving lot. Yep.
It was
lot 8. Lot 8. Sorry, you're out.
Yep. So Rick and Gary heading over here to do some more in lot 5. And this is where, of course, they found the 2 spikes last week and the coin. And we're going to be talking about that because they had Sandy Campbell come out and look at it. And so we'll be getting to that here in just a few minutes. They found this thing. Does anybody, you know, they talked about a heavy iron acorn. Does anybody have, I honestly, looking at this, I don't have a clue.
I thought plumb bob.
Plumb bob, that's a good
when I saw it. You need something heavy, and you're going to need an anchor point at the top or the center.
That's very true.
Right.
If this made a hook on top so you could tie a string or something to it, then yeah.
If you were
Anybody
digging
out
a
there? What do
hole.
you guys think?
Yeah.
Does anybody have a? Yeah, it looks like a level bob. Yeah, level plumb. Yep.
Yep.
Anybody else? What do you guys think this thing is? I don't know. I was left scratching my head, which isn't unusual for me.
I would like to see them run it through the X-ray machine to see what layers or what might be underneath it.
Yeah, exactly. A
Get
burnt
rid of all that.
marshmallow. There it is.
There you
It's
go.
a petrified marshmallow.
Mystery solved. Next slide.
That was Henry, by the way. A fishing weight. A ball.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, a ball from a bell. The
Yes.
ball, the inside the bell. That's
Yep.
a good. I hadn't thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of a scale.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought about the rod that pushes a gunpowder into a cannon. The end of it. It's because it's rounded like that. Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd use anything metal to be pushing around gunpowder.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to create a spark, do you?
Yeah.
Like,
You will keep the spark on the outside of the barrel.
yeah,
But it could be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a
could be
black
bad.
powder expert by any
Yeah.
means. So
That could be bad. Yep. Yeah, true. Wouldn't be metal, right? Yeah.
yeah. See, Renee was saying, is there anything that comes from a cannon that looks like that? I don't know the parts of a cannon well enough, and I thought about that too. You know, if the bell metal they found could have been part of a cannon, is that part of a cannon? Or the carriage that, that carries the cannon around, if it's on a carriage.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah. Monty Python. If it was Monty Python, it would be a ramrod tip. Yes, you're right. That's what. If anybody knows who Monty Python is, you'll get the joke there. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Is it a solid piece? I don't know, Renee. It's not part of a cannon.
No, Jeff should know.
Yeah, Jeff should know. Artillery major. Yep, he should know. So anyway, yeah, this is a mystery. So hopefully next week we'll get to see what it is, or one of the
Renee said, is it a solid piece? By the way he described the weight of it, I would say yes.
Yeah, me too. Yep. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to see. I hope this isn't one of those things that's just a flesh wound. Black Knight.
Strange Viking toys. Yeah, maybe it's a spinning top.
Yes, but yeah, it could be. Run away. Run away. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to be thinking about that show all night, or that movie. And then they found a musket ball.
Musket ball. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And I'd like to say they're going to measure it for diameter, and that's going to give them a sense of the caliber and perhaps even the source. So.
Right. Yeah. Gary thinks that it could be from the 16th century. Gary suggests measuring the diameter since the musket ball seems rather small. Yeah, exactly. Jake Roberts. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hey, there's Jake. Long time no see.
Yeah. So next they jump over to the war room, and this is where they bring up Stefan Grund, and they have a video conference with him, and of course Craig Tester. And they want to get a little bit deeper information or data. They want to see the data from the scans that they did out on lot 10. And that's what he's here to talk about, the data. And here it is right here. Now, this shows the data where they see some sort of something that showed up on the scans. 3 to 8 feet, was it? How deep was it?
Yeah, anywhere from 2 to, well, depending on which conversation you overheard, I guess. Some at 2 feet, some at 3 feet, some at between 3 and 8 feet.
Okay.
So all, buried. It's a question of depth.
Right.
And length too. I mean, I don't know what the length of that was actually that they found, but.
Yeah, I don't remember either. And judging by the length of the area that they had scanned, because we saw him walking with it, it looked like he was doing about a 30 to 40 foot walk and then going back. So if you figure that this is about 30 to 40 feet, and I'm assuming that this was.
Yeah, they're saying, 12 by 15 feet is what the measurement of it was.
Of this item.
Yep.
Okay, that would be about right then.
12, 15 feet square, yeah, which would be right, yep.
Okay, I guessed it right. Yeah, 15 feet long. Thank you, Dave. So they find these anomalies, and then of course they got a couple different looks at them. And of course, and I had to grab this picture, but they're looking in this area over here on Nolan's property. We were just talking earlier about the lots that Fred owned. He sold, obviously, he sold lot 5 to Robert Young,
Hmm.
because the two of them were working together at that time. He sold lot 5 to Robert Young, and he had 5, 7, and then 9 through 14, and this is part of 9 through 14 is all these here, and encompassing much of the swamp as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Renee, it does look
go ahead.
very similar. It does look very similar. I don't know if it's the exact same piece of equipment, but it said the same basic design. Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh yeah, that's very true. I didn't think about that. So next, the guys jump over to the money pit, and we get to see this. I grabbed this shot because I really wanted to get a good look at where they were working. Um, and this area right here is now the spot that they're
Hmm.
drilling this D17. It's right up to the south. I guess that would be considered the southeast corner of the garden.
South or southeast corner. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And that's an area that we haven't seen them poke around in too much. I mean,
No.
look at them. They're behind, or at least off to the side of the garden shaft, and everything
Yeah.
we've seen previous to that has been out in front of, to the left of,
Yeah.
back
They
there.
had to go in here and flatten that off too. They had to flatten
Mhm.
that area off because that was sloped right there.
Yep.
You see this area that they're sitting on, they had to come in here and flatten this off so they could get the drill rig up there. So yeah, that's in an area where they're not working, hadn't worked before. And right off the bat, they hit wood at 39 feet.
That set them
And
back a bit.
yeah, and you're thinking, what in the world? 39 feet, what in the world are they hitting wood for? And so they decided to keep on going a little deeper. And you see, here's the tag D17.5, 39
Mhm.
feet. And this is what
Yep.
they found. Um,
Yeah, when they first
okay.
hit that, I thought, oh, it's just the start of the spiral tunnel going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So did
then
I.
they decided to keep going, and my
Mhm.
theory was proved wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they said. Here, oh, and I took this shot here too, just to kind of get a better look at exactly where they are right here. Yeah. This is really cool because they have not been, over here,
No.
really until this season. And now look what they're finding. It's just amazing that it is all, I have to hand it to Craig Tester because him and Steve Guptill working on their drill program together and deciding where they're going to go. And they've just done a fantastic job. I mean, they never would have found these had they given up and stayed
No.
over where everything else was in the money pit area. They never
Mhm.
would have, found these at
It's a
all.
good thing. It's a good thing they continued that drill program.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt. So there's Terry, and they bring over, Craig's there working with them, and of course Marty and Rick come over as well. Um, so after being notified that that they found a shaft because they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper, and they kept hitting wood the whole time. And so here's at 49 feet, and they find more wood. Now this particular piece of wood that they found. They are going to get the chronology done on it so they can find out the date of this stuff, these pieces of wood. But they talked about that piece being looked like it been sawn by what they call a pit saw, and a pit saw being a saw that's being handled by two people, one above and one below, and they're pulling the saw back and forth, so it's making straight cuts or maybe just angled,
Mhm.
just a little bit cuts in the wood, not a circular pattern of some sort of a circular blade
Right.
making a circular pattern in more modern times. Yes, looks hand hewn, Ray. That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what I think was so interesting about that. And here's just another look at the 49 feet. I thought it was 149 feet, but it wasn't. It was just 49 feet there on that piece. Again, they're just keep hitting wood. So, I mean, what does that tell you? And here's one. I think this one says 53 feet. They're still hitting wood. And they kept on going and going and going, and they keep hitting wood. As the deeper they go, they keep hitting wood. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they're going down the side of a shaft.
Exactly.
So this whole time that we were thinking that D17 was hitting a tunnel, they realize, and now, we do too, realize that this wasn't a tunnel at all. D17 and D17.5, they were hitting a shaft.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard Craig standing when he did a little spot interview off to the side, and Craig said, "We don't have a clue what shaft this is."
That's right. He's headed back to the research center to find out what they might or might not know about that spot.
Yeah. So you thought you knew all of them, and yet now they found a new shaft. Now, if the dating of this wood, and again, this goes back to all the people I read on Reddit and some of the other groups that are always complaining about the wood being found. This is why the wood is so important, because they need to date this wood to find out exactly when this wood was, when it was a tree, and when it got used. So if it was pre the finding of the money pit in 1795, then what does that tell you? Does it tell you it must be a depositor? Probably. Or it was somebody that came back later to make a withdrawal from a deposit that they knew was already there, and they came back to do a withdrawal of some sort. Again, could be. We just don't know for sure.
Yeah, those dendro dates would be cool to see.
Exactly. And it's a must see. So hey folks, I got I got a special guest that's popped in here this evening. I'm waiting for a second for him to get settled here, but we have, as you guys know, and I've been talking about this. This has been a great long. This is going to be a long week of shows, because tonight, we're doing the Curse of Oak Island. Tomorrow night, I got the guys from Treasures in America on Thursday night, 7:30, and then Friday night we're going to be talking about last night's Beyond Oak Island episode, and for that particular episode, we are going to be joined by this man right here, Mr. Bill Smith. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, as you guys know, Bill has been doing the work looking for the Peter Easton. He's been tracing the whole history behind Peter Easton. And so he's coming on Friday night to help us with that. Tell us a little bit about what you got for us.
Well, if you watched the show last night, you see we had a lot of fun in Newfoundland again this year. This year we went with Marty instead of Rick, and we got to show him a little bit of the countryside and the people in Newfoundland. And we went to this remote island called O'Darren Island, and we found a lot of interesting things, from drainage tunnels, what we believe are drainage tunnels, to maybe a sunken ship offshore. Yes. And we added some really big pieces to the Peter Easton story. So apart from having a lot of fun, there was a lot of serious like magnetometer work done there. Tony was diving for us. We had Matty bringing his energy and excitement to the story. And then we had a couple of old skippers from Newfoundland who added to the story as well, with some of the traditional stories and a knowledge of the whole area. But with the show on Friday, I thought it was going to be a lot of fun if we brought a special guest along with us. Are you guys up for that, or what do you think?
Yeah, we could up for it. Lay it on.
Okay, so
yeah, I'm up for it. You betcha.
I had a lot of fun last year with you guys, and in the past year, I've had the really great opportunity to meet some characters, some that I've met once and that was enough, and then I've met a few that I formed really long-lasting relationships with. And anyway, the Peter Easton story has taken on a whole new life, and I thought it'd be a good time to introduce. I don't know if you know this fella or not. His name is Jake Roberts. Do you know that fella?
Jake Roberts sounds
Roberts. No, I haven't heard of him. No, I haven't heard of him.
Do I smell bacon cooking?
Yeah.
I met him in the lineup at Walmart, and I got talking to him, and you know, he looked like he was looking for something to do, a little job, you know, a little research job. And I said, Jake, why don't you come on over and have a chat with me? And anyway, long short is, I've been talking with Jake for quite some time. And there's some really, I don't want to get too melodramatic about it, but magical pieces of information that I couldn't understand.
Wow.
And some symbolism and markings. And I probably have enough for a new item to introduce to a show for about 2 seasons if we had to. But
Wow.
some of it relates to Eastern and relationships with the British monarchy and the French monarchy that I believe will blow people's minds.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I
And
also
for those of you
believe
that
that.
don't, for those of you that don't follow Jake, he's also O'Dearran Island. O'Dearran Island is also another small Atlantic island in the North Atlantic, not unlike another island we're familiar with.
Mhm.
What it's really interesting, the parallels with a bog, a drainage tunnel, and how some of those features, even fellows like Samuel de Champlain, how they might be related to both areas. And there might even be a third island in Atlantic Canada that I haven't told anybody about to date. But
Wow.
that's new to you, in Jeff and Tom, right now at this very moment. But
Yep.
I believe that something really, really big happened in Atlantic Canada, and it was involved with the settlement of North America. And I've been able to put together a number of big pieces in the past year. And with the help of Jake, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those things. We haven't got it all figured out, mind you, but it's really exciting. And I hope that people tune in and ask lots of questions of Jake. I'll just sit back and listen to what Jake has to say on Friday.
Nice. I tell you what, folks, and that's one of the things, Bill, that I've told the guys out here, the folks out here, is that one of the great things about the Beyond Oak Island episodes is that we learn something, and then we get to have guests like yourself come on, and now Jake or come on and tell us about things that we didn't know before. I'm getting such an education about it, and that's the thing of it is that we don't get the viewership on the Beyond Oak Island episodes that we do on the Curse of Oak Island, but this kind of sounds like we're tying things together a little bit. But I tell you, folks, if you really want to learn stuff about this, if you're interested in these things and you really want to learn information, you're going to want to be here for the show, because I can't wait. Personally, I'm on pins and needles waiting for Friday now. Seriously.
You're not going to want to miss this, folks. I mean, Bill, of course, can only give us a certain amount of information. So we're gonna talk about the adventure on O'Dearran Island, and then Bill's going to give us the scoop on what's next.
Yeah.
So if you don't normally watch that other podcast and you're interested in Atlantic Canada, Friday night is the night.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I think so.
Well, I look forward to seeing you guys, and we've got a couple of stories to tell as well. So, yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. You're going to want to check it out. Friday night, 7:30. Bill Smith, thank you so much, sir. And I am looking forward to it. We'll catch you on Friday night.
Yeah, you guys are better looking than you were last year. I got to tell you.
We're taller. We're taller now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye, guys.
Okay. See
See
you
ya.
later, Bill. All right, folks, man, I tell you what, like I said, you're going to want to be here for Friday night. Check that show out, because we're going to have a lot of fun. And Bill's working with Jake.
I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I first messaged Bill. I said, "Look, you're on the show. Would you like to do this?" And he said, "You know what? There's some." I said, "What else is going on?" He said, "Well, there might be some other stuff you might be interested in." I said, "Oh, tell me more." He said, "Well, that's all I'm going to tell you for now." And then he said, "Do you know a fellow by the name of Jake Roberts?" And my jaw went,
Yeah.
"Okay,
Wow.
this only gets better."
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that Jake is interested in are the same people that were poking all around Atlantic Canada and around Nova Scotia at the same time that Mr. Peter Easton was here.
Yeah. Wow.
So
if they're going
to draw lines of connections, I want to hear them.
You betcha. Absolutely. So there you go, folks. That's going to be on Friday night, this coming Friday night, 2 nights from tonight at 7:30 Eastern time. And we're going to start off going through Beyond Oak Island. that episode with the Peter Easton and what they were doing up there from last night's episode, and then we're gonna take it a little deeper. So you're gonna want to be here for that one. So
Yeah, and folks, as everything we know right now. So
yeah, that's it. And I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to this. All right.
okay,
Whew, that was great. All right. So
Lot
back to
10.
the money pit. Yeah, back to the money pit. So the guys are finding this wood. And as I had mentioned, this wood is so important because now if they get this wood dated, now we can find out if it's pre-searcher or not. Was it for a searcher shaft? Because the guys didn't even know that the shaft existed over there by D17 and D17.5. They didn't even know it was there. So I mean that's now we have to find out exactly what's going on there. Okay. And I hope we hear about the results of this pretty quick. I'm gonna just read here real quick. Let's see. Because the pits were he's talking about the pit saw was used by the Europeans beginning in the 15th century. The shaft could predate the discovery of the money pit.
Yep.
And that's just going by the cuts in it. The group agrees that they need to keep going and get to the bottom of the shaft to see where it goes. Brandon brings over a core sample from 109 feet for the team to examine. The core contains more wood that has been axe cut. And Craig thinks that the piece can be sent for dendro dating. And Craig explains that they have no record of the shaft at all. So they really don't know too much about it. So there you go.
No. And that 109-foot depth is kind of coincidental, isn't it? Because the other tunnels they were following were down to 103, 109, right?
Exactly.
So is that the shaft that takes you down to that depth?
Right. Yeah, could be. And you heard Scott Barlow. And Scott Barlow said last night, he said he was talking about the garden shaft and this shaft and how they both could relate to the actual original money pit. One of them could be the original money pit, and the other one could be where someone was trying to go down to it, or so. I don't know. They're so close together.
Sometimes they would dig shafts next to each other, one to pump water into or out of. Right. So I mean, I don't know. It's a new shaft. We know that.
Right. So I mean this and you heard Craig come walking over. It was funny when he first walked over and he said something to Terry about, you're supposed to be giving me answers, not more questions. And that's exactly what this is now doing, is giving up more questions instead of answering anything. And it's crazy. I still wish they could they need to take and just do a big dig. Like somebody mentioned, season 12 is a big dig, and just do the entire whole money pit from the 10X all the way down. I don't know. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. There's such a mystery to be solved here. All right. So next, the guys jump over to lot number 10. And this is, of course, the lot that is at the top, the north end of the swamp, where they are looking for see if there's some evidence or some kind of a dam or something there that Fred Nolan had always felt that there was. So the guys are mustering over there, and they decided to, and this is where it is here in lot 10. And again, they're looking at that scan from the scans that they did. And then they bring up, and then, last week, and this is what, Henry and our team, of course, between Linda and Jan and Henry and Tom, talking about this right here. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I actually forgot about that, Tom. Xena and her map. And we talked about this last week. And Henry had brought that up, talking about this particular map right here. And I was kind of, as soon as they showed this last night, I'm like, we were just talking about that because it was on Xena's map. And there it is right there.
I think they must be following Henry.
Yeah. Somebody's following Henry, and they knew he. They're like, oh, the map. We didn't even think of that. Henry did. So I'm glad to see that. And there's something else about next week's show that was said also that I'm going to bring up when we get to the end here about Xena's map as well. because that Zena's map is one of those things that you heard Marty say over and over again when he says Zena's map, if true,
If it's true, right?
and then he proceeds to say what he's going to say, but he always throws in that if it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're finding more and more bits and pieces about Zena's map that have come true.
And there are more and more people coming on side with the idea that it's legit. May not be the actual real map, but it's an interpretation or a copy of a map. But the information contained in it, people are coming on side that it's legit.
Yep. Yeah. Rick, thank you, Linda. Rick says that true. If true, Zena's map. If true, if proven. Yeah. So
far, it seems to be working out.
Yeah. So here they got this area marked off, and you can see the water right there at the top of the swamp right here in this area. They got this marked off, and they bring in the backhoe or the excavator, and they start working on it. And of course, it's Billy Gerhardt running the show on that machine. And they start digging, and of course, and you can't pull out any kind of dirt like that and not have Gary over there scanning it, metal detecting it every scoop that comes out. And right off the bat, they find this pin. Now that's the only thing that they showed us was this pin that they pulled out. We don't know if they found anything else. They probably would have shown us, but we don't see everything, as we already found out with that piece that we talked about a couple weeks ago. A fiddlehead, looks like a fiddlehead, some sort of a pin or a brooch. So they don't show us everything, but they did find this, and it looks old, but they are going to also run this thing through the XRF and try to figure out what's exactly, what its makeup is, and that'll help them determine its age.
So just the question popped there. Has anyone heard any of the wood of cypress? Not that I've ever heard.
I have not heard that either. Yeah, Jan says she's not sold on Zena's map yet. Yeah, I know. It's still one of those questions. Yeah, Kevin agrees. I'm the same way, but they are finding more and more pieces of it. That
there are more people coming on side now.
Yep. And then they find this piece of wood. They found a couple pieces of wood actually, and this one here they think that it was coated in oil, like treated with some sort of an oil that would help preserve it while it's in the ground and being wet all the time. They do this same thing on a process on ships and boats and stuff too. That oil helps to seal the wood and keep the water from soaking into it.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I'd never heard of it being done to that extent, but it does make sense.
Yep. So yeah, they were all passing it around. They were all you see, those things were all sniffing pieces of wood. That's always kind of funny, but yeah. So they passed this around, and everybody got a chance to check it out and see what they thought about it. So there was a couple pieces, and there's Tom is over there washing this one off, so you can get a look at the saw cut on it and everything.
Yeah, if you look at that when he's splashing it around in the water, you can look and you can almost see the rough cuts.
Yeah,
where it was hand sawn or lumber.
Yeah, I was trying to capture that in the picture, but it's just too blurry. You can't see it.
You can see a few little lines there, but
yeah,
it definitely looked. It was not machine cut.
Right. Exactly. Now the wood could float in and get stuck in the dirt. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that before, but not that spike. That spike definitely wouldn't. And there's
the only way that spike gets there is if it came in as part of a piece of wood that was rotting, and eventually the wood got beat up and the spike just fell out on the ground.
Yep.
I've seen that before. Yeah. But again, it didn't float in on its own, that's for sure.
No. I grabbed this shot too of the backhoe, and the one thing that I saw here in this picture, I thought, okay, it's a good parting shot of the guys walking away after they decided that they're going to get a permit and then use that permit to excavate this entire area and really open it up and see, because that's what Tom and Rick both decided, that it needs further investigation and they need a broader area. To do so, they need to get a permit and then continue with that. So Rick, I was pretty sure Rick said it was not creosote, Douglas.
No, they didn't. They did not believe it was. They said it did not smell like creosote. No. If you ever smelled creosote in lumber, and I have, you'd know it was creosote.
Yeah, and I have too.
And actually, if it was creosote, you certainly wouldn't be touching it with your fingers.
Yeah. Yep. So the one thing I caught on this picture here that I wanted to share was this right here. They didn't show us this big. Is that a log? Is it a plank?
Mm.
Is it a beam? I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this picture, and it's not as clear as I would have liked, but it's obviously wide, and it looks to me like it's a beam of some sort, not a
Could be a
round
beam.
log.
It could be a beam or a post. If you're going to build a storm wall or a dam, you're going to need posts as well.
Right. They pulled this up out of that hole. So
Mhm.
now we know that there wasn't just little pieces of wood down there that are broken. They've got a great big piece, this here. Yeah. So,
And they're pulling this from 6-8 feet down too.
yeah, exactly. So does this add validity that there could be a dam there? Yeah, maybe, but we'll find out. Hopefully in the coming episodes, we'll get more information on that.
Yeah,
Do you
there
guys
could be a
believe
dam.
the
Could be a
basin?
dam or a storm wall. And a dam is not just a solid structure, right? A dam is also made to open and close,
Yes,
right? So if you had an earthen wall there and a
that's a very
15-foot section in the middle that you needed to open or close for some reason,
right.
goodness knows what, right, to let water in and out,
Mhm.
then that would explain why it's there.
Well, you also talked about the fish, the traps, the
It
fish
could be
traps,
fish trap. That whole swamp could have been a fish trap,
right?
and
Yep.
you need a place to let the tide in and let the water out.
Yep. Wayne asked the question: do you guys believe the basin was from the map from Zenith's map is the eye of the swamp? I think so. I mean, it's in the right area. Well, what you have to, and again, we go back to translations. Um, and I'm gonna go back to the map here for just a second. I know I hate flipping through these pictures like that,
Mm.
but so you go to the translations, and it right here it says the le barrage. I don't know. I'm not
Mm.
French. I can't pronounce this correctly. But that one says Bassen. I don't know. So
Mm.
we are looking at the translation. Is that translate properly over to a basin? I don't know. Linda
I don't
might
know.
know, or someone who speaks French. But it looks like BESS or BESSENIN.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's pointing in that general area. It's pointing right at the eye of the swamp, really.
Right. Yeah, and that's that. I think it is personally. But what that could translate to,
Mhm.
I don't know. It could have another meaning to it.
And what it was being used for at that time could be totally different than what it was used for in the 1700s.
Right. When they used the blue clay and the rocks
Mhm.
going around it in a circle.
Yep.
Right. So
I don't think that island was just used by one group of people for one purpose.
I agree. Yep. Yep. So yeah, that's I wonder if they if they used ship parts. They could have, Renee.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not?
You're going to reuse everything you can use. If you found a shipwreck or wrecked a ship yourself or had a spare ship, you're going to take the wood off it and use it. You're not going to, spend the time to go find it and try and mill your own wood.
Right. Okay, Uper just asked a question about are you talking about, let's see, he said behind under the bucket, what is it? Are you talking about
Right
this
there.
piece that
Must
I
be
was
that
just
timber,
talking
maybe.
about? Yeah, that beam. I think if that's what you're referring to, I think it's a beam or a post of some sort. Okay. BASSEN. This is now Linda chanting in. Thank you, Linda. BASSEN can mean a bowl or basin, just like we use now.
There you go.
So could that be the eye of the swamp? Absolutely, it can be. Absolutely. And that's a natural spring, is it not? Not in the eye, but a natural spring comes up and flows across there, because you've seen that when they drain the swamp, you see
Mm.
that little creek that runs from the north end all the way down to the south shore. You see that little creek that runs through there. That's what fills the swamp back up.
Yeah. If you look just to the right of where they're walking out of the swamp there now, you can see almost like a little overflow ditch that's been naturally created.
Yep.
Right there. Yep.
Yep. Right here. So yeah, I don't know. Going to be interesting, but if it pans out to truly be a dam there, then I guess that adds validity to Zena's map. Some validity, at least. Basin, bad spelling. Zena's map has had a couple of meanings depending upon how it's pronounced. Exactly. That's what I was getting at, Robert, was that I just don't know. You know, you could take some of those translations, those meanings, and move them around a little bit, depending upon how it's spelt or what context the word is used in. It could mean something different.
Yes, very true.
So, all right. So after they finish up at lot 10, which we will see more to come in the future here, they go back to the interpretive center. And of course, I'm catching Alex falling asleep, standing on his feet again. We'd bring in Mr. Sandy Campbell. There he is there.
Just back up one picture there, Jeff.
Numismatist.
Look on the desk. If you zoom in on those those books, those are coin books. I think I tried to zoom in on the top one there. It says World Coins.
World Coins.
So they brought 3 copies of the same book. They must be going to keep them and give them out to the people at the research center.
I don't know if that's 3 copies of the same book, because this one has a different.
Oh yeah, it could be a little different. Yep.
Look how thick those things are.
Because when they walked in with Sandy, Alex had that black,
a
canvas bag in his hands, and he said, "We'll set up here."
Yeah, he did.
What are they going to set up? Well, that's what they. If you look at the first shot of when they walk in, that table is totally clear.
Yeah, and you're right. I thought it was some sort of a microscope or some sort of a thing like that they were bringing in so they could look at this a little closer. But in fact, it wasn't. It was, you're right, it was the books. That's very interesting. World Coins. Wow. Good catch. So Sandy's there, and he gets to take a look at the coin that they found. 3 different editions. Yeah, it could be. That was Doug Dixon. You might be right. A lot of coins have been made since the beginning. Yeah, they have, Kathy. That's for sure. That's why you need 3 volumes or 3 books, right? There's so many out there, and that's why they cut them, to make change. I always thought that was kind of funny. You're cutting the coins to make change, but I mean, yeah, something you might have had to at some point, right?
Well, they call it making change.
Making change, because you cut it off. Yeah. Okay. I was just reading some of the chat there. Now that they've talked about Roman coin, does anyone remember the Roman pilum that they found on the beach in 2018? I do vaguely.
That's like a spearhead, right? Or
yeah. Well, that's what Gary thought it was, and I don't know if Carmen. I don't know. I don't remember Carmen talking about that piece.
Don't know if they ever. Yeah.
And it had the little arrow pointer at the top. It had like a little barbed thing at the top of it. But I always thought it was too narrow, too skinny to be used on a Roman spear. Yeah, the spear, Renee. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So Sandy comes in and he gets looking at this thing, and he gets them to bring up the makeup of it, the tin and the copper and all that kind of stuff. And so he looks at that, and then he weighs it. And again, we get one of these situations where it weighs out to be exactly 1 gram. And now that they didn't cut it and weigh it right there and go, okay, yeah, that's 1 gram. And how is that, just by chance? Probably.
Yeah. My guess is it's just a happy coincidence. But
yeah, exactly. Happy coincidence. Now, here's a couple of pictures that I wanted to share with you guys. This one was done by Jess. She did a little close-up of it. And if you remember, Sandy was talking about this. Let's see here. He explains that it's not unusual to see coins cut into partial payment. Sandy feels the coin is either Roman or a Byzantine, but he feels the most likely Roman. He said that he can see some sort of Roman characters that is the style of 300 BC to 600 AD. 300 BC to 600 AD. Alex calls Rick and asks them to come over, and Rick and Gary show up. And then, of course, you hear Gary, it's Roman, baby. But this is what
exciting.
right here. Yeah, this right here. Now, this is highlighted, and you got this piece here. And I think somebody had actually mentioned something about this being like a tree. And then this being a
somebody did say tree. I said, oh, don't tell me oak tree.
Yeah, the good old oak tree, right? Okay, and here's the one that they showed on the episode of that right there. Okay, and it does. It looks like a stick figure, and then whatever this was next to it. Okay. Now, Linda went out and found this coin right here, and here's both sides of the same coin. Now, look at that. What do you see right there? Now, there's been a lot of people in some of the groups and stuff have been showing different pictures of this, and this is the closest one that I think anybody has found. And Linda found this one, and she showed it to us earlier today. It's not an exact match, but remember what he said: Roman style. So the style
exactly.
of the coin, it could have changed from province to province or whatever, and with the stamp that they were using. So
yeah, there could have been more than one stamp.
I think I think this is spot on, because if you see the tree here on this side, the big area here, then you see the person that's looks like they're walking or reaching out, and this hand is reaching out, and the head on top.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's got to be it. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that Sandy is. I mean, I'm sorry that Sandy is spot on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but Linda is spot on.
Yeah, he keeps saying possibly, but he's pretty firm on that.
Yep.
I guess there's no way to be 100% sure unless you can redo like I mean, he's seeing this thing in a matter of hours, right? So
right. Yeah, Sandy said it was a tree and a person. Yeah, exactly. And there you see it right there, a tree and a person.
Yeah.
And then if you actually look, you can actually see the legs of the, father figure or whatever this person is right here. And you can actually see right here, is that his legs? I don't know. This is really worn down, but I mean, that's pretty doggone convincing to me. What do you think?
If it's 2,000 years old, it's surprising there's that much left of it.
Exactly. Yeah, it is 2,000 years old. So, again, now here it is. In this thing right here brings up a load of questions. Was that piece, this one that was found in lot 5, was it a piece that somebody was just carrying around in their pocket? Like I was speculating that the cash coin, the Chinese cash coin, was just somebody's token that they happen to be carrying around after many, many years. Yeah, it does look like a conquistador. I saw that too. The helmet, I thought. Could it have been something that somebody was carrying around and dropped it in, 1909 when they were out, the Truro company or something was out there working the island? It's possible. Were the Romans on the island in 600 AD?
Could it have come up with previous spoils and been spread around? I don't think down as far as lot 5, though. I don't think.
Yeah.
The one thing we know for sure is, I mean, we can say a lot of things about a lot of different pieces of metal, like the spike on the shore. Did it float in? Was it carried in on a piece of wood? Did it come in on a ship and the ship disintegrated and it fell into the swamp and they picked up a coin in the swamp? That's on dry ground. So it did not float in.
Right.
Yes. It had to be physically moved there somehow.
Right. I agree. 100%. Yep. Yeah, the coin that Linda found, that was Linda saying that there, not me. Was AD 313 to 498. So that's when that was in circulation, I guess. So why is it there, Ray? I know, right?
The other thing too to consider is if you were, Samuel Ball or one of the McGinnis boys or whoever, and you found a bag of gold, silver, whatever, and you were sorting through it as to what you were going to keep and not keep,
I'd toss it.
Toss it. Yeah. It's not shiny.
Yep. Yeah. It's not shiny. It's not gold. It's not silver. You don't want it.
Gone.
It's copper.
Doesn't mean
No,
a
I
thing.
don't want
Yeah.
a piece of copper. You know,
So
not when I got 3
another
or
way
4
it could have
gold
gotten there.
pieces. Yeah.
Just discarded.
That could be exactly right. It could be a remnant of something that was found in the money pit by the guys, if they found anything at all, right? So great catch, Linda. That's good.
Very good.
That's why I love this group. I really do, man. Just always searching and finding things for me to talk about, right? Okay, here's Michelle had brought up how did that translate over? Okay. The Roman, and I'm not sure how I'm from, it's Pilum, Pilum. Is that how it's pronounced?
I'll go with you. Yeah.
On the show, a European expert identified the Pilum several episodes later. And she's got a link there. Then that'll take you to where they talk about one of those things. I can see it on the Facebook side. I can see the picture of it, but that's that real thin thing. I just didn't think that they were that small on the end of a Roman spear. Yeah. Barbara said, that's Barbara there at the, that Rick looked stunned when he was, pie.
And Rick was putting the questions right to him, right? Like Rick was trying to nail him down, right? Rick wasn't just going to be happy with, could be, might be.
Right.
He was asking him some pretty specific questions.
Phylum. I thought it had an F sound in it. I don't know.
Phylum. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, good job, Linda. That's a great find. Winston, if the Roman coin was from around 500 AD, then it would have been carried by a Viking. Could have been carried by a Viking. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's any number of ways it could have gotten there, right?
Yeah.
Could have been part of an old treasure that somebody found and was hoarding away, and
right.
That was just happened to be in the box.
Yep. So so one of the things that I also wanted to bring up was some of the things that they talked about in the and I love watching these. And if you catch them, they show the preview for next week at the end of the show, right? And then later on, like today, they're showing one that's a little bit different. It's a couple of extra things. And I caught the one from today, and I happened to catch a couple of screenshots of it. And the couple of the things that I saw was that, and I don't know where they are yet, but it was this picture here showing some folks digging in the ground, and they're doing some archaeology work here. There's Helen.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this right here?
Wow.
That looks like somebody we've seen before. I don't know if it is.
And I don't. Yeah, I hadn't
blonde
heard
hair.
I haven't heard if she was back on the island or not. But
yeah, I hadn't heard either. But
I'm not going to guess. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it alone for now. I'm not going to. Yeah, Seth Bound, you might be right, but I'm not going to say anything just yet because I might be wrong. But yeah, I happened to catch that. But the archaeologists are back, and that's an awesome thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing some test pits.
Spoils. But something that Helen had said when she was featured, and they go by these so fast on the preview, right? Mm-hmm. She said, fairly large feature. She said, this is a fairly large feature. So I wonder where they're at.
Yeah,
are they on? Are they in lot 5?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they're doing those test pits in lot 5 where they found that coin.
Maybe. I don't know. Yet to see where they're at, but I'm glad to see. It's probably Miriam. I'm pretty sure it probably is, but we don't know for sure. So it's good to see them back and good to see them working. I like this because they find so much good stuff. And again, their philosophy about finding things is let's find things in the ground and then use those to build our, hypothesis of what was here, what they were doing in this spot.
I see somebody said that they thought they were in the Ball property, but I think they wrapped things up on the Ball property a couple of years ago.
I thought so too. Now we know they're going to be looking at the wall. Remember in the preview with Maddie Blake, they were looking at the wall in the well,
down on the shoreline. Yeah.
right down on the south shoreline down there. I don't think that's this, but you never know. But she did say a fairly large feature that she's uncovered in that hole that Helen is sitting in right there. So that's really cool. There's a lot 26. Yeah. It might be the area where they dug in week 2 or 3. Could be, Robert. It might be. Mahone Bay was named for Phoenician Mahone boats. Those ancient mariners were world travelers. That was Michelle. I don't know. I don't know anything about.
Yeah, the Phoenicians definitely were world travelers. No question about that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's one thing I noticed. Now, let's see. I forget how my pictures go here. Oh, okay. This was Christopher So was over and they got a shot of her looking at something. She was analyzing something and she said, this object is from medieval Europe. Okay. And I kept trying to catch it. Hey, Skinwalker Ranch is here. How you guys? How you doing? So they're looking at this thing right here, and again, I can't. Is this the folded? I was thinking it was the folded copper sheeting that we thought was on a copper box, but I can't tell. It goes by so fast. It took me 3 or 4 tries to get a picture of this or a screenshot of this thing, and from this shot, you can't see the telltale little images that were on top of the little copper sheeting that Gary found. So we're not sure, but she did say in the commercial or in the promo, this object is from medieval Europe. So I don't know. What do you think? We can speculate on that all night long, can't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
When do you come back on at Skinwalker? Well, I'll be doing some more Skinwalker. We got some more insider insights coming up. We're going to be doing some more of those. And then we've got some other interesting things for Skinwalker Ranch coming up pretty soon. And of course their season won't start until like April. And then of course we'll be doing every single episode when they do that. But we got some more insider insights coming up, which is awesome. I mean, you guys, if any of you watched Pete Kelsey, when Pete Kelsey was on, he's an insider, and we caught him and Brandon Fugel was in one of the Q&As. Him and Brandon and all the guys were there, and they were showing us stuff. I know I'm cutting away from Oak Island for just a second here, but they were showing us some things Pete Kelsey had scanned that you would not see unless you were watching the TV show. But yet, as an insider, we got to see it all. They showed all of it to us. They showed us the scans. They showed us the rocks, the things that they found. Yeah, being an insider is really cool. There's a link in the description below if you want to check that out. But it's awesome. I thoroughly enjoy being an insider for Skinwalker Ranch. I wish Oak Island would do it. If Oak Island would do something like they're doing with Skinwalker Ranch, how many of you people would watch live video, streaming video of Oak Island? Even they can't show you.
They can't show you live shots of the work.
No. They can't show you what they're doing. The cameras would have to be away from that. But how many of you would like to, from time to time throughout the day, check out live video streaming from Oak Island?
Even a picture of the causeway to see who's coming and going.
Yeah, right? That would be so cool. I kept telling Karen Publicover, you need to put up a live stream. She thought about it if her internet connection was real strong there. Anyway, all right, back to the show. Sorry about that.
We digress.
Yeah, I got a little off on a tangent there. Okay, so medieval Europe, this piece right here. Okay, now this right here, this is the big one, folks. This is the big one. Now, first, I wanted to show you this. They were taking more water samples. They showed this on this preview. Okay.
Yeah, Marty was pretty adamant about that last night too.
Yeah,
I want water samples
from all depths. Different depths. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then this. Ian Spooner said, this is the source of the gold and silver in the water. This is where it's coming from. Remember how they talked about they were going to use the water samples and trace down exactly where they think that the source of the gold and silver is. And there it is. That's what he's saying. Now, we're going to find out. I mean, this season we're going to find out. I think if as long as Dumas doesn't get delayed too long and they get back to work, and we know that they were there almost all summer long, but we don't know how far they got because of the delay.
We know that somebody else dug a pit or a shaft there 77 feet, right? With whatever technology they didn't have at the time.
Yep.
So, for Dumas to get down there should not be an overwhelming thing, I wouldn't think.
Right. So, I don't know. I mean, I think pretty much everybody caught this, this little scene when they showed it in the preview, but this is Ian putting it out on the line saying this is where it's coming from. So I'm excited to see it. Also in the preview, for next week, couple of the things else that were said, Laird, when they were back in the area where the archaeologists are digging, Laird had said, and this was his quote from him. He said, this could be important. This could be important to the whole story. And I'm assuming that he's talking about what they're doing right there in that dig. But that's what he said. This could be important to the whole story. And I'm assuming he's talking about the whole story of Oak Island.
Which has many chapters, in my opinion.
They're still writing or finding new chapters to this Roman coin. And one last quote, and I don't know the text behind this at all, because they didn't show a picture, but all I heard was Charles was sitting. It was actually when Charles was sitting in the lab, and I believe it was Christopher So's lab. When Charles was sitting in there, the camera cut to him, and Charles said, "This adds validity to Zena's map."
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know. Were they talking about this item that they found?
What were they talking about? Yeah, exactly.
What were they talking about? That we don't know. And we know that Prometheus loves to throw out little teasers that really end up
sound bites.
Sound bites. Bravo Tango from last week. Yeah. That was a bit of a
is or is not.
Yeah, they didn't say.
Possibly.
Yeah, they didn't say what all he said. What Rick all he said. All they said was Bravo Tango. No, Rick had said this is not a Bravo Tango when the show got there. Yeah, I know, editing, right? I don't know if he was talking about the dam, Michelle. He was sitting in the room with, maybe it was something they found at the dam or during that dig. Maybe it was something, and they took it to Krista, and she did her analysis of it and came back and said it was medieval Europe. But he did say while he was sitting in, I don't know if it was that lab. He was sitting in some sort of a lab because you could see the lab around him. It didn't look like it was any of the, the archaeology or the interpretive center or anything like that. But he said this adds validity to Zena's map. So I can't wait to see and find out exactly what that was. So I don't know, man. This is interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Oh, okay. All right. So, data. Okay, let me look here. Linda sent me a picture. Okay. Yeah, that was the one. All right, let me bring this up for you guys so you can see this real quick. Oops, why does it go over there? Okay, this is the one that this is the one they found on Oak Island when Krista was looking at it, right? So, yeah, this is that phylum, yeah, something like that. This is what Gary had found us on the beach. I think he was on one of the beaches when he found this piece. So yeah. Anyway, that's an interesting. I mean, it's obviously a barbed, You know, I kind of, when I saw this, I was thinking it might be something having to do with spearing fish, but again,
Yeah,
the
I was
barb.
thinking something.
What's
One
that?
of the needles they use for either sail work or for even making fishing nets.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not sharpened, not really. I mean, it's not really all that sharp, unless the tip is broken off. You can see it, right here.
Yeah, it could have been very sharp at one time, but I mean,
Yeah. But even the edges are not sharp at all. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Hard to say what it was. But I think that's what Krista said anyway. But
okay.
anyway, so good stuff. I mean, I'm really looking forward to
Yep.
next week, as always, for roasting marshmallows. There you go, Jan. Wow, I didn't even think of that. Those medieval marshmallows.
We should
So
before we sign off, we should talk about the draw that Linda's doing. I don't know if you can see
Yes.
this or not.
Yeah.
Just a quick look.
Yeah, let me see if I can grab that picture.
Can you grab that and put that up? Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. We are doing a drawing for next Friday, or this coming Friday night.
This coming Friday. Yep.
Yeah, this coming Friday night. Sometime during the show, we're going to do a drawing, and we're going to be doing a giveaway, and it's these coasters. And hold on a second, because I'm trying to. I don't know if I can bring this up or not. I have to close this.
So anyway, so for Friday night, you've got Bill Smith, Jake Roberts, and a prize.
And a prize. And if Jake Roberts and Bill Smith and Tom aren't enough for you, we have a prize.
Yeah, the prize will make up for me. So yeah.
So let me see if I can okay, remove, and then I'm gonna bring up a picture of this. So these are coasters.
And it's it's a pretty simple process to enter. You'll read what Linda posted there. You just have to enter yes. I think it is in the chat.
Yeah.
The only caveat is to win, you've got to be here with us on Friday night.
Yeah, there it is there. They're slate coasters, and it's got Mari Vineyards on it, which is owned by Marty Lagina, of course, and Alex is there. And that's where I went, and I actually been there twice, and I did a video, and I put it out on YouTube. Andy Johnson gave me an awesome tour, and I videoed the whole thing, and I put it on my YouTube channel. And they had these for sale there too, along with the Big Woody. And the other stuff that they sell, T-shirts and hats and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're going to be giving this away. Is it just the one, or?
I think it's one.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be giving this away. There's a drawing.
They're made a slate. They made a slate. You can't afford to ship more than one.
I know they are heavy. But yeah, so these are, all you have to do is in our Facebook group page, you go down and you just say yes. That's all you have to do is say yes, as you see a couple people have done there. Just say yes, and then you are entered into the drawing for this, and we're going to give it away on Friday night. So like I said, if Bill, Tom, and Jake Roberts aren't enough for you, we're going to be giving this away. So
plus the additional information that Bill is going to give us, and Jake.
I can't wait. I mean, they teased us about it. They
won't even tell us.
They won't. Yeah, they won't even tell us.
You're just going to have to wait.
Drives me crazy sometimes, but guys.
The one thing we do know is about activity or suspected activity around Atlantic Canada.
Yeah.
And we all know what provinces that covers. So
don't say yes here. You got to say yes in the Facebook group.
Well, it's good practice. So now you go to the Facebook.
Yeah. Now you got If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you need to go over and be a member of our Facebook group. And you
better talk to Linda quick
on this post. This is a post in Facebook that Linda put up, and I'll show you. Let me close the. There it is there. So you see. Oops. Let me close these. So there, it's right toward the top. So you see there's the show right there that we're on right now. And then of course down here, we're looking at the coin, and there it is right there. It's not far down. You just go in there. 74 people have already said yes. So hurry up and get your name in there before it gets to be too many. So you got to go there and just say yes. All right. That's how you get entered for that. So yeah, exciting stuff, man. I can't wait. Tomorrow night, we got the guys from Treasures in America, Timothy, wow, I just completely blanked on his last name. Treasures in America is a Facebook group, and they have a YouTube channel, and they are in over in the Nevada, Utah area, and they're going up into Utah, and they're looking for Spanish mines from the Spaniards when they came up from South America, and they have some mines out there, and they've been out there searching for these mines, and the things that these guys go down and crawl into, these tunnels and stuff. It's crazy, but I'm gonna have I think we've got 5 of them coming on the show tomorrow night, and we're gonna be talking. John Edwards will be here with me. John and I will be talking with them, and we're gonna go through that. So that's tomorrow night, 7:30, and then Friday night, of course, is Jake and Bill Smith and Jake Roberts and Tom and I, and we're gonna be chatting it up doing last night's episode of Beyond Oak Island and see what those guys have in store for us. So, and then Saturday. This is a great week. It's going to be I'm going to be so burned out by Saturday afternoon, but Saturday afternoon at 2:00, we got Luca Santoni and the entire, all but one, the entire cast of people who are going to be on his episode number 4 of Templars. The premiere of Templars episode number 4 is on the 24th. I believe it's the 24th, coming out on Amazon. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 are there now. And we're going to have, it's going to be me and 8 people on this. We're all going to be in real small little boxes because there'd be so many of them on the screen. But it's going to be me and 8 people. So it's going to be Luca and his son, researchers and authors that are in the episode, and Tanya, who can't speak English very well. So she's going to be we're going to work with some translation there. And Andre DiBellante is coming. I mean, it's going to be a great. They're all going to be talking about Gudrid the Fair and her story, and a story you probably have never heard before, which could in some way tie in with all of North America. And so you're going to want to be here for this. So they're going to be talking about this premiere of episode number 4 of Templar. So if you like Templar stuff, Gretchen Cornwall will be here as well. Gretchen's one of the folks, and she's in this episode as well. So we're going to be talking, each one of them are going to have a time to talk a little bit. And then we're going to do a little bit of an open forum chat between them so they can all talk about Gudrid the Fair and her relation to European and North American ties. So somebody I never heard of before. So you're going to want to watch that. That's Saturday at 2:00. It's going to be a fun show as well. It's going to be a great week. I've been looking forward to this week for a long time. All right,
it's a
folks.
busy week.
Yeah, it really is. What do you think, Tom? Anything else? Any parting words?
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks, Jan, for the synopsis.
Yes. Thank
Beautiful
you, Jan and Linda, for the work you do in there and helping me with all of this stuff. And there's Jake is still hanging around. So yeah. So
he wanted to make sure we weren't trying to give away any secrets.
Oh, well, you know.
We don't know any secrets, Jake. He wouldn't tell us any
secrets. Not yet. He might on
Send
Friday
pictures.
night.
Send pictures.
Yeah, send pictures. Yeah, we'll be showing some pictures and stuff. All right. So tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday at 2:00, you're going to want to be here for all these shows I got going on. And like I said, I'm going to be burned out for the rest of the weekend. But anyway, we're going to have some fun with it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night right here for Treasures in America, 7:30 Eastern. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a good week.
Good night.